Okay, guys, I'm back. Okay, and I don't know if the audio is coming through because it's not playing for me, so if it's not, then let me know and I'll reset things. But anyway. Oh, I moved Lickitung to box 3. Really exciting. Oh, thanks, Pix. Thank you, Pixie, for updating the game. And King Yakuza, welcome to the stream. You have audio? Alright, cool. I mean, there is, like, no audio for this. Oh my god, stop. I don't need all these, like, black and white things. Okay, so we're just gonna be grinding probably most of the day, guys. So it's gonna be very chill. Jilly's in the litter box, so pardon the sound. I know, super exciting. So here is the team I have right now. And whoa, Aaron 000. Welcome to the stream. We're trying to get up our last 3 Pokemon to their evolutions. So this is Grimace. He's our Muck. We're hoping oh my god, he's not our Muck. He's our Grimer. We're hoping he becomes Muck. He doesn't become Muck for like 7 levels, so we're just gonna kind of train him up for the next bit. So we're gonna have a hot convo going on. And actually, Scott, man, I don't know if you're still here, because I was kind of like, hey, I have your Q&A from Patreon. Hi, baby. Did you go potty? Awesome. But anyway, you're here? Okay, well, so I'll probably open up with your Q&A. Whoa, Cass with the big Jilly bounce.
Dance 1 PRADO, dance 1 RADO, dance 1 RRAD.
Well, Cass, thank you so much. I big appreciate the bits and all the Odins. Look at all your set of rad gravities. I love it. Thank you so much. So anyway, we're training right here because Poison is... Which one of these does something? Poison's good against, Tangela. And that's basically all that's in this grass patch right here. So I figure it's best to train somewhere where we don't have to experience share. Anyway. But yeah, I'll go ahead and do this really quick. So, because I can definitely talk about this while we're grinding. But Scottman's Q&A for the month of April for Patreon is, what was your inspiration to get into crocheting and making different plushies and other cool stuff? So this is kind of a story within itself. So I definitely have kind of a sort of long-winded answer to this. But we will get into that. So thank you so much, Scottman, for the question, and I'll go ahead and answer it while we're grinding here, if that's cool. You know, we love a long story. So anyway, my journey to crocheting was kind of not how do I even say this? Like, the way I started crocheting was non-conventional. We'll put it that way. So, first of all, when I was like, I think I was like 12 years old, 12 going on 13, I started to have an interest in doing something with needlework, like whether that be knitting or crocheting, but nobody in my family knew how to knit. Only my grandma knew how to crochet, but she learned from somebody who was left-handed, therefore she did it really, really weirdly, like she didn't crochet the traditional way, and her way of teaching was really weird too. So that just didn't work out. So I tried to learn from a book, which also was not the most effective form of learning, because I was like looking at diagrams and trying to figure things out, and I essentially learned how to crochet a slip stitch, which is like the absolute smallest stitch you can do. And that's it. Like, I wasn't even doing things properly. I just kind of taught myself to do one thing that worked, and I think I made like a little scarf, and it was all wonky like it went in and out, not on purpose. I didn't know what I was doing. It looked cool because it was like rainbow, but I literally did not know what I was doing well enough to make anything, like, to make any kind of vision that I had. So I kind of dropped that. I did it and then I dropped it, because I didn't really know what I wanted to make. It didn't really cross my mind that I could make plushies with it yet. That was just seemed way too advanced, and it was just not even a thought on my mind. I was just thinking of making like winter wear. But then it took so long with that one tiny little stitch I knew that I was so inaccurate with my sighting and everything, I was like, forget it. So, I basically experimented with it for a couple months when I was like 12, 13 years old, and then I dropped it. And I've been sewing since I started sewing at 4 years old. Now, mind you, it was with with yarn and a darning needle, which is just a big plastic needle. I was learning how to make stitches, and then I started really sewing things together at like 5 or 6. But I had started practicing the art of sewing very, very young. I was very inspired by, my mom had a really nice sewing machine. She made all kinds of really cool things. I was inspired by my favorite like children's stories like Cinderella, the mice sewed things, Taylor of Gloucester, the mice sewed thing. Like, I'm very animal driven, so I was like, I love these fairy tales where like the animals are making things, and I wanted to do that. So that was my like child brain thinking that. And I'm somebody who, one of my passions is plushies. I love stuffed animals. Like, I think it comes from the fact that I love animals, and I want to own and hold and touch all of the animals, but I can't because they're wild animals, you know, you have to let them live their best lives. And so stuffed animals are the closest I get. Like, I have such a strong passion and love for animals that, like, I think that's why I'm so into stuffed animals, is just because I want all the animals. Like, I love them. I want something physical that you can hold. Even characters that I love, I want to be able to like physically hold said character or like see said character in 3D. I don't want them to just be a flat element. And because I have the skill to make it that way, that's what I do. That's why that's like the main thing that I make. So anyway, fast forward to the days of YouTube, where YouTube was more established, had way more videos, lots of teaching videos on there. When I was 19, this is kind of the same, this is actually right before I started Let's Playing. This would have been like the winter, like the holiday season right before. So this, I want to say this was in like end of October, at the end, near the end of October, in 2009. I was having a lot of trouble at home because my whole world had just kind of changed. You know, I graduated high school that May of 2009, and then the summer was really, like, such a beautiful summer and such an amazing summer, but it kind of had this, like, twinge of weirdness, because, like, pretty much everything in my life was changing, and college was coming up, and my friends were moving away or doing different things, and I wasn't going to see them anymore, and blah, blah, blah. And in addition to that, there was always a threat of my family potentially losing our house, which is not a fun feeling, to think you're not going to have a home, or you don't know where you're going to live, or you don't know what's going to happen to you. That was very much the state I was in. And I even tried, like, literally tried to go to college that fall, and they had it stupidly set up where I had to, like, live in a dorm in order to, even though I could commute, they were like, you have to stay in a dorm because your SAT score wasn't high enough for you to live off campus or something weird. And I was like, well, that's really stupid. So I literally, like, they had, like, move-in day, and, you know, you see all the, like, traditional, like, kids moving in with, like, the big supportive family that's, all gung-ho and excited and going crazy to, like, move them in and have them have this amazing college experience. And I'm, like, there struggling with, like, my mom and my sister and her, like, boyfriend at the time or whatever, or husband at the time, and, you know, it was just such a frantic state. I know that this seems unrelated to crocheting at all, but I'm getting there. So anyway, it was just such a frantic state, and it was so unlike anybody else there. Like, there was nobody there that could relate to what I was going through. It was all, like, you know, these privileged kids going to college with their super supportive, like, white picket fence families, and I was, like, not one of them. So I felt, like, very it just felt wrong, and I felt like I was going just to do what I was supposed to do, as opposed to waiting and figuring out life for myself. And I knew that, like, if I moved into a dorm, I wouldn't have a home to come back to. I had no idea where, like, I was... Other than that, I'd be homeless. Like, I was not gonna have mom and dad's house to go back home. Like, there was nothing. I didn't know what was gonna happen to my stuff. I didn't know what was gonna happen to my life. And so, because living in this state of stress and anxiety, this is when I started to develop anxiety. I'd never dealt with anxiety in my life before this. You know, I've had nerves and stuff, but not like this. This was totally different league. I started to struggle with anxiety, and this is also what brought out my food. This is so weird. My food allergies all came out at the same time. I think it was all pulled from the same things. But I developed lactose intolerancy. I couldn't eat dairy anymore. I developed acid reflux disease, which, to be fair, I think I'd always had those things, but this, like, caused it to flare up hugely. So what happened is I developed a stomach ulcer, which is caused by stress and your body disagreeing with you. My stomach acid was not, I mean, it was horrible. I was literally nauseated constantly. I lost like 15 pounds. I couldn't eat anything. I felt like I was gonna throw up. I slept with my hair in a ponytail just in case I had to go vomit. I mean, it was seriously like a horrible state of living. I could hardly get out of bed. I mean, I was just in like a total panicked, horrible state. Which is one of the worst, it's some of the worst I've ever felt in my life. So, because I felt so sick, and, you know, it was just awful. So anyway, I had to change my diet entirely. I had to completely change my diet. I couldn't have milk anymore. I couldn't have all these things that I was, like, living off of anymore because of acid reflux and lactose intolerancy and this triple whammy of, like, of the stomach ulcer. So I became really sick, and I dealt with anxiety horribly. I would, like, have horrible breathing, like, panic attacks, and I was still in this, like, mumbo-jumbo of not knowing what was going on, what was going to happen to me, what was going to happen to my house, my life. All my friends were going to school, and I couldn't even bear the thought of going to school because I was so anxious and sick. So one day, I decided to look up. I had like some yarn and some crochet hooks from a million years ago when I had tried to learn how to crochet before. I ended up looking up how to crochet, and I think I went to a bookstore and I found like a book of really cute like crochet plushies, and I was like, oh, maybe I could learn how to make these, and it just kind of like sparked some inspiration of possibly learning how to do that. And if you have ever watched me crocheted yourself, it is a very repetitive, almost like meditative activity. Like, you almost meditate while doing it because it's so repetitive. You're doing literally the same thing over and over again thousands of times. Hence, woo, don't do it for 9 hours. But you're doing this one thing over and over and over again, and you're slowly seeing your progress form into something. You know, you start with a string, and suddenly it's a whole, like, plushie, or a whole whatever you're working on. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something that's not whatever I'm doing right now, because this is going to take forever. But anyway, so I found videos on it, I had this book on it, I kind of used both interchangeably, and the things I first made were very, like, you know, loose and weird stitches, and I was trying to learn, like, what was what, but I was getting the hang of it. But I realized as I was doing this, I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel anxious, and I didn't, like, think about all of these things going on in my life. Hold on, I'm gonna just run from this because I need to go heal. Anyway, so I didn't think about all these things in my life, so that was like an escape, and because it was such a concentrated activity of this repetitive thing, it was like my own source of therapy for what I was going through. So it was very therapeutic, and it, again, because, no, I don't, okay. Anyway, pressed A too many times. Anyway, so because it was so therapeutic, it made me not, like, think about how sick I was feeling or how anxious I was feeling or horrible. And it reminded me of, I've told you guys that my mom used Super Mario Bros. 3 when she was pregnant with me to fight her morning sickness, because then she didn't think about how horrible she felt. It was the same kind of thing. So anyway, I really started just throwing myself into learning this and getting better at it. And I had started with this book of, like, it was like robot plushies. They were so cute. And I don't have it anymore because I don't need it. I could just look up the pictures and figure it out. Like, that's just kind of how my brain works with anything that I make. But anyway, that's a talent I have, which I think I very much get from my dad. He does the exact same thing. But anyway, so okay. So anyway, I just started getting more and more into it and trying more and more things. And, you know, the plushies kind of, it was like, you know, what I learned from the book and the video worked. It wasn't like the time before where it was like, I can't get this to come out right, it doesn't look right, what am I doing? It worked. And it kept working, and I kept figuring out new things that made it easier and made it look better and made it, you know, that much more unique or whatever. And as somebody who... What are you doing? Get out of the bathtub. Sorry. Jilly is knocking all my stuff over in the bathtub. Anyway. Oh, sorry. I, like, laughed and then I started to cough. So, back in 2009, believe it or not, and 2010, there was not nearly as much merch for video games and fun stuff that I love as there is now. So, you know, shocking, I know, because now it's like, well, there is stuff, but you can't get it because they're scalpers now, but, like, back then there just was not as much. So, anyway, I finally had this ability, because it is very difficult to sew spherical objects, like, without them looking, like, too oval or too weird, like, or too square or something. Like, that's not the easiest thing to sew. So it's much easier to crochet, like, round pieces. And it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, I can finally make plushies of all this stuff that I love that there's no merch for online. There's no merch for in stores. It just doesn't exist. At the time, it was also, like, Studio Ghibli characters. I remember I made all the cats from the Cat Returns. Like, you still can't find that kind of stuff. But I have such, like, particular favorite characters that, like, are never represented that I finally had this outlet where I was able to make them. And then as I got better and better... which not even long after I had started, I started putting them in my Etsy store, because I have had my Etsy store since like 2005, and I had a different store at first, and then I made MadameWario so it would match everything else I had online, but I've been on Etsy since like 2005, and so I added those things to my store, and I kept, you know, up with creativity in that way, so... honestly, the crocheting, I still say, is my therapy. You know, when I am going through something or when I need an escape from whatever craziness is going on, I crochet. Which is why this is not helpful. It's like, if, you know, I told you guys I have this, like, surgery coming up and I'm very nervous about it. And what would I do? I would, like, crochet just to get my mind off of it and not worry, but I can't do that right now. So it's like, ah! So anyway, I've had to... Which is, I'm not going through, hi Jilly, I'm not going through anything as detrimental or crazy like I was in 2009. I mean, that was like one of the hardest, like the first half of the year was like one of the best, and the second half was like one of the hardest of my life. So, you know, it was such a wild time that it was necessary to like pour my heart into art if I had nothing else going on. So, but yeah, so that's why I say this is a very long-winded story, because there's a lot to it, but that is very much why I got into crocheting, and I really, you know, it's not often that you pick up a new hobby or something, and then you have such a passion for it. A lot of the time you pick up a new hobby, and you're like, yeah, I learned how to do this, and cool, I don't do it anymore. But this was something that I really had a passion for pretty much right away, as soon as it started working. And I love it. It's one of my passions in life, which is, you know, you don't think that's gonna happen necessarily. But yeah, it was awesome. So, oh, I don't want this. Anyway, that's amazing. I'm glad you were able to have crocheting be an escape in the same way, but you're the same way, but with travel. That's awesome, Scott, man. But yeah, that's basically the long-winded answer to that question. Yes, stop learning this. I don't want to learn this crap. But yeah. So, that was how it kind of happened and how it developed, and I know I'm not the only one that's gone through that kind of thing where they've had total rocky ground at home and, or this, you know, what do you call it, like, I can't think of the word. Disruption, I guess, in the life that you know that makes you have to change everything. So sometimes to take on something new in the midst of that's positive, that isn't like this big, horrible sounding or looking change, but instead is something new that's a positive, like, asset to your life, like, makes a world of difference, I think. But anyway. Yes, that was your main motivation for learning crochet. You wanted plushies but could never find/afford them. Exactly. It really makes it where you can make anything that you want, any character that you want. And you know, most characters that I like are very animal-esque, or they look like, you know, they're like Pokemon or something. They have like a unique look, as opposed to just being people, because people aren't the easiest things to crochet. Like, Odie's been dogging me about making him a Rad Gravity plushie forever, and I'm like, you know, that's literally gonna look so weird as a crocheted plushie because it's Rad Gravity. Like, you couldn't get a more caricature, like, cartoony human face. But, you know, so that's a little tougher, but when it comes to, like, any kind of other, like, animal sort of shape or, like, object, it's totally perfect for that. But, yeah. But yeah, so anyway. Well, thank you for the question, Scott, man. I very much appreciate it. And it's a story I've told kind of here and there and everywhere. But I haven't really, I don't know that I really have shared the true intimate details of it necessarily. So, but yeah. So, and I know that my thumb is on the way to healing. And, you know, it's like every appointment I have at my occupational therapist, or with my occupational therapist, we kind of have a new development. Like, I'm very hyperextended in my joints in my thumb, and I naturally hyperextend when I push on my thumb, and I'm like having to relearn like how I use my thumb so that I don't do that, because it's causing all of these problems, because I'm like pushing from the knuckle instead of like the tip of my thumb. So I'm pushing from the joint, essentially, and it's just like, it's a whole learning process and crazy, so it's a lot. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad they loved the gnomes. Oh, Scott, man, that's so cute. I love that. I know you told me that like back at Christmas time, but I always love when hearing stories like that of, you know, that's like the biggest reward as an artist, when something you have made moves someone or makes someone's day or brings, you know, happiness to somebody. That's obviously like your main goal, is to have it connect with people. So I'm very happy to know that. But yeah, Shliam, that's what I mean. Like, it's true. I've looked for stuff like that before too, and it's like, I mean, I've kind of figured out my own style of making like human characters or human dolls that works for me and that I like. Like, I kind of have a particular style with that, especially when it comes to making like if I make like Mario and Luigi and the Mario Bros, like, they're easy because they have like cartoony faces, but the girls aren't as easy because they have more like feminine, delicate faces, so I just have to make them kind of cartoony in my own style, the same way I would like illustrate them if I were drawing them, which is what I do. And I do like the faces that I've used for those, and that's kind of just my go-to, because a lot of the time if you try to make something too detailed, it just ends up looking weird in that way. But yeah, you still get lots of compliments on your piranha plant hat all the time. I know, I was like, most people probably think it's a strawberry, but it's okay, because it could go either way. I love it, Shliam. I love that. You could have very detailed crochet, but when it comes to like making a detailed human face, maybe it's a little tougher. Unless you make something like huge, where you could literally have it be super realistic, and then it might look kind of creepy too. It's hard to say. You know, this method of grinding is actually working really well, you guys, because we are like 3 levels away, and I still have rare candies, so I'll probably only go up 2 more levels and then use that. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to my house after this, though. I know. I mean, I know how I could do. I know what I'll do for it, Pixie, when the time comes for me to make this Rad Gravity plush. I'm just saying, it might be a little strange. But you know. Okay, hold on. I need to heal. Like, I have 20 of those moves, and yet I still have to heal every 2 seconds, it feels like. Or maybe this is just going by fast for me. I'm gonna switch this. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. I am going to switch these moves around because I'm tired of having Sludge be second. Okay, cool. Oh, Jilly, get that! Get that! Get that nip! Get that Skeeto! She's getting her mosquito. Get that Skeeto! My voice is all crackly. I'm sorry. The weather has gotten so warm that my sinuses have been, like, going insane. Like, they don't know how to react. Like, I've been losing my voice every, like, other second, like, like... and I've been getting, like... I had, like, a headache the other day that was just, like, a sinus headache. But I haven't had anything like that happen. It's just, like, everything is weirdly going crazy now. Sludge, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do too, Shliam, is just using felt for small things or using acrylic paint. Sometimes you can get away with that. But yeah. Yeah. You remember my Gamer Girl? Oh yes, I love my Gamer Girl plushies. Those were so much fun to make. I've always wanted to make another line like that, but just, I've always done something else, you know? It's like, well, I made it once, so... I'll probably end up doing something like that again eventually, but... sometimes with that stuff, too, it just depends because... now, there is a lot more merch available, and there are plushies available of those girls that weren't at the time when I made them, so... I try to stay focused on things that are still not available, like in a licensed sense. Oh yeah, I didn't look at my queue. Wow, the line is paused. The line at Build-A-Bear is paused right now. I've told you guys I want to show it off whenever I get in, and it looks, they're probably all sold out already. That's probably why it's paused. It's kind of funny. Anyway, the Twitch Spy, how's it going? What? It's actually been snowing here in freaking April. Ah. Oh my god. Mario Gamer Ball, that's so annoying. Like, I love the snow, but not in April. I'm like, can we please have, like, warm? At Odie's dad's, like, 50th birthday party. It was, like, April, he had this birthday party on, like, April 25th. Like, literally, the very end of April, and there was a blizzard. A blizzard! And I was like, I'm not ready for this. Like, why is there a blizzard this close to May here? I don't know, but it happened. This was a couple years ago, but... pretty funny. You guys are like, we had snow today! And I'm like, it's like 72 here. 70, I think it's supposed to be like 75 by mid-afternoon. Or early evening. I think it's supposed to just keep warming up. Yeah, like, I love snow in the wintertime, but, like, I don't want snow in April. Like, I want it to turn into warm weather, like it should. Just like I don't like it to be 70 degrees in December either. I don't want it to be summer weather in December. You know, so I feel ya. It's like my throat is just like, hey, remember that voice you used to have? I'm gonna take it away when, like, the weather changes for some reason. Or I'm gonna make it crack. And it's like, why do I sound like I'm going through puberty as a teenage boy all the time? Like, why is this a thing that I have to deal with? I don't know, my nasal passage is crazy. Anyway. But yeah. Spring is just all over the place, but, like, I feel like it's an extreme when it's snowing. Like, that's too much. Like, that is too much. Especially if you live in an area where, like, that's not the norm. It's not like it snows way more than it doesn't snow. Why is my camera weird again? I feel like... Oh, shoot. Sorry. I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on. I'm gonna center myself again because I think my camera has a mind of its own today. Is that better? Yeah. Like, I don't know why it does this sometimes. Where it will, like, pan all the way to one side and claim it's centered, and it's like, you're actually not centered at all. No. Yay! Alright, we have one more level to go as Grimer, and then we're ready to change out to either Doduo or... I always forget the third person. I always forget who the other person I'm working on. They're all in a row, so... I think it's Venonat. Like, we were gonna catch Venomoth. Or maybe it isn't Venonat. Maybe it's somebody else. I don't know. I can't remember. I know that we can level up Venonat, though, anyway, and then just not worry about the whole, like... That's one Pokemon we won't have to worry about in the Safari Zone, so... Anyway, I guess I'm not really grinding for the Elite Four right now. I'm just grinding for my Pokédex. I should probably change my title. Again, I always joke, I'm like, if you're watching this on YouTube, the title's accurate. If you're watching this on Twitch, the title may or may not be accurate, so... Oh my gosh, the Twitch Spy! I love those little dolls. I made those for my first concert, which was Lady Gaga, and I wore them on my belt. Like, I never wear a belt, and I wore, like, this, like, cute little belt that I could put them on to that concert. And it was so much fun. I still have them. I have all my, like, treasured plushies that I have kept for myself. It'd be fun to take a break and go through those later. Because not all of them are crocheted. Some are sewn, and they're from when I was, like, a teenager. Yeah, Kit! But anyway... But yeah, those are some that never went in my shop. I just made those for myself, because at the time I wasn't even, like, really... I had, like, just started selling crocheted plushies and dolls. In my Etsy store. This line is still paused. Like... Oh my god, I bet they're sold out. Kit's yelling at me from the other room, by the way. Guys, we had such a beautiful Easter here. I hope that you had the same. But man, it was like the perfect spring weather. It was like a high of 70 degrees. Like, it hovered between like 68, 70. So it was like that. It was like that warm, but still a little breezy type of like weather that's really nice, where you can just like sit outside in the sun. Kit, what? And Kit, it was sunny all day long. There was like not a cloud in the sky. Like, it was just absolutely beautiful. So really enjoyed this Easter weather. And as a kid, you know, you're always like praying for good weather on Easter because you want to be playing outside all day long. And, you know, my family would always have, like, a big Easter egg hunt. It was the one day of the year, like, I guaranteed would see all of my extended relatives, like, all my second, third, however many cousins, you know, second and third cousins, everybody, great aunts and uncles. You know, it's like the whole family. And up until last year, that was, and this year too, it was the same way, like where everybody got together. So hopefully next year that can happen again, but, you know, it was just, as you look forward to it so much, so if it was rainy or really cold or something, it was like, no. So. But yeah, you had a wonderful Easter, went for a hike at your state park that morning. Oh, awesome! Oh, it was your first Easter with your baby nephew. Yes. My Easter, it was like a whirlwind. It went by so fast, but it was so much fun. I got up in the morning and I obviously attended Mass virtually, so I attended Easter Mass, and at the same time I was boiling eggs, because I was like, I'm gonna boil eggs for my family to color, or for me and my mom and sister. I was like, I'm gonna boil eggs for us to color later, because I bought like egg coloring. I love coloring eggs and everything. So I bought those for that, so I had to boil those. I made a cake. So I made a cake for dessert, because I don't like cooking, but I do love baking. Dang it, I didn't realize I was... Well, I'm really close. Maybe I'll just try a level up like this. Anyway, so I made a cake, I boiled eggs, I had an Easter basket put together for my family, and I watched Charlie Brown Easter special, spent some time with my beau, and then, you know, spent time with family, and we had a good visit. We had dinner, and then my mom has a show that she watches that's actually all about like the story of Jesus, and they were premiering like season 2 of it that night, so we watched that. And then we had like a Zoom call with the fam later. But yeah, finally we're able to talk about like some wedding stuff again, so we were doing that, and also talking about baby stuff, because my sister, Madame Toch, is having her baby in just, you know, a little over 2 months at this point, so she's getting there. Right, Kit? Hi, baby. Why are you crying in the other room? What's going on in there? I don't know why she's crying, but I am in charge of the games at the baby shower, so we were like coming up with some ideas, and I was actually looking up some ideas before the stream today, and I know what I want to do. For some shower games, I had to like, I am the baby in my family by 22 years, meaning that nobody else in my family had a baby until I was 22 years old. So, and my little cousin likes to remind me of this. She's like, I'm the next oldest next to you. And I'm like, yeah, but you're the next oldest by, and she's like, by 22 years. And I'm like, she thinks we're on the same level because we're both the 2 youngest. Or we were, not anymore. Now there are some younger than her, but like, there are 2 younger than her. But I'm like, we're not that, there are 22 years between us. Like, we're not that close, but in her mind we are. So I'm like, okay, I'm on the same level as, you know, my 8-year-old cousin. Sounds about right, though. I mean, I'm still just as into the things I was into when I was like 8 years old as I am at 30 years old, so it's fine. But anyway, so I'm the baby in my family. I did not grow up around babies. I don't know anything about babies. I've taught babies, as in like 18 months and older, which is a job, and which I wouldn't recommend unless you absolutely love babies, which I discovered like, okay, 18 months is maybe not my age. I like, you know, 5, 6.
Oh my god, no!
That's better for me.
You still...
Girl, we are potty training!
Oh my god! I just thought about this recently, however, since this has been an alert I never redeemed it, but now I can scratch off starting a potty firing bits from my bucket list.
Well, there you go! Thank you!
11 WU.
Thank you, Mr. Oreo, for scratching the potty training fire off your bucket list, and thank you so much for the bits. I really, really appreciate it. But yeah, Oh my god. Shliam, if I... That would be what I would do. It'll have to be the second baby, but like whenever I have kids, I'm like, please do a Shy Guy Says like gender reveal for me. Like, ooh, you know, we're doing Shy Guy Says gender reveal, but not until the second baby because I don't want to know. I love surprises way, way, way too much to know the gender ahead of time. What am I doing? I need to get a... Oh, there we go. Never mind. It's like the top thing. So, no, don't use it on the wrong person. I'll be like, hi, Jelly. But oh, thank you for the Pikachu, Cass. Okay, cool. Now we get Muck, finally. Oh, I'm sure it'll be the same for me, Mario Gamer Bowl. It's different when it's your own, like your own family or especially your own kid, I would imagine. But yeah. Whoa! Grimace is now Muck! Alright, cool. So, Grimace is now Muck. We're gonna go up and change this out. Also, I'm gonna take that experience share off. No. But anyway, my point in saying all this is that I don't know anything about babies, so like... I'm like, what do I... What do we need for this? So, what does a baby use? I mean, I know, obviously what? I can't access Bill's PC from here? That's such BS. But anyway. So, yeah, but anyway, we were planning out shower stuff for my sister, and then talking about some wedding stuff for myself and some shower stuff for that, because it's so weird, you guys, like, when you are... It's weird to get married during a pandemic. Okay. And it doesn't help that, like, there's still a lot of unknowns, like, still don't know, like, when everything's gonna have gone through, like, when the actual date is actually going to be, like, how many people are there, like... It's gonna be so, like... bizarre just setting everything up for that it's like, alright, well, it is what it is. We really don't care at this point. I'm just excited it's finally happening. So, okay, I need to get out the next person. Krabby! That's who I always forget about. Wait, why are you here? Rhyhorn. Right on, we're not even worrying about you until later. So I have Krabby. Okay, we got Pidgeot last time. Maybe I was thinking we still needed to get Pidgeot, and we don't. Alright, so let's go ahead and get Krabby out. Oh, Doduo! Thank you. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get Krabby out, though, because I think we'll be able to train him up pretty fast. No! Hold on. I'm gonna... Did I seriously not... Oh no, I was in the wrong pocket. I was like, did I seriously not take this thing out? So he's level 14? I'm sorry, it's a girl. I don't know what her moves are though, so give me a second. Oh god. Okay, well she can learn like Surf. So let's go ahead and teach her some moves so that she can have a fair fighting chance. Krabby and Doduo, I don't know why I can't remember seriously 2 Pokemon. Also, I've stopped updating my layout because I don't need to at this point. Like, we know what my final team is. It's not like these people are sticking on my team. We're just trying to complete the Pokédex. I was trying to see if I had any other... No, I literally have Rain and Hail, which I'm not a fan of either of those, so... Alright, Mrs. Krabs. So... maybe we'll go... What level is everybody in, like, I wanted to go to Victory Road, but I think she's too under-leveled